Hi guys, welcome to the Age Hack Podcast, a podcast about longevity and lifestyle. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we had dinner with your dad last week.
As we always do.
Every Tuesday. And we noticed something about his hair that I thought was really cool that you could share.
It's turning black. So he's always had dark hair growing up when I was a kid. And then I think maybe about 20 years ago, a tinge of grey started to go into it. He's 73 now, so, he's pretty white grey. However, I noticed a black spot in there. So I started sort of moving his hair around and his hair's turning black again. I just can't believe it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So what's the secret?
Well, he's doing a lot of things,
Yeah.
He's training at the gym 4-5 days a week, which blows my mind. I never would have thought Dad would have done that ever, let alone at 73. He's starting to drink filtered water. He's eating healthy. He stopped drinking, drinks a lot of water, no alcohol. But he's taking a product called Live, and it's an anti-aging longevity product. And scientifically, without running a whole lot of tests on him, I think that would be the most obvious cause of the darkening of the hair.
Yeah. So just quickly running that back, he's using Live. He's working out, he's exercising. Mm-hmm. He's kind of staying even busier than before,
He's
gardening. He's taking care of us every Tuesday. He's, got his girlfriend and up in Perth. And then what else is he doing? He's stopped drinking alcohol. I think that's a massive one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So damaging.
I mean, we don't want to sort of make it sound too much of the devil, but it does cause toxicity in the body. And when the body is dealing with alcohol, it's not dealing with other things. Yeah. So, it does put stress on the body.
Yeah, so they're kind of the main things that he's doing. And I know you're trying to get him to sauna, but we haven't got there yet.
It's always the same. Every Tuesday, Dad, have you saunaed yet? Yeah, but I went into the sauna, I opened the door, there was 4 blokes in there, and I said, nah. And then I turned around and left. I mean, what are you going to do? There's always going to be someone in there. Just sit in there for 15 minutes, but he doesn't want to sit in there with any other blokes.
He did say that he was going to try going a little bit later, so perhaps.
Maybe if there's only 1 or 2, he'll say yes.
We'll find out this week. So we're going to dive straight into our Blue Zone tip of the week. So this is where we take a little bit of wisdom from the parts of the world where the people live the longest. This week, taking it from Loma Linda in California, and I'm hoping it's better than beans.
Like last episode.
Yeah.
Beans. Now, for those, because you've skipped over it, you did mention it, but you skipped over it pretty quick. For those that don't know, what is a blue zone?
So blue zones are 5 areas in the world where people tend to live longer lifespans on average than the world average. So the world average is about 71.3. And in Loma Linda, I believe that I don't want to get this around the wrong way, the men average lifespan is 89.
Wow. Unreal.
Really good. And the women's is actually 91. Isn't that incredible?
So that's almost 20 extra years. So
we're talking average lifespan as well.
Average. So, I mean, a lot of people think that blue zones, if they've heard of them before, mean that they all live over 100. That's not the case, but they have a large amount of people that live over 100, like the most centurions, so to speak, but it's longer lifespans. Wow. So when you average those two, 90, put a 9 in front. Amazing.
Yeah. So the little piece of wisdom that I want to talk about in Loma Linda and just have a bit more of a discussion is the idea of community and friendship and what an important role it plays in longevity. And they actually did a study in 2015 that found that loneliness and social isolation can be as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes per day.
Wow. So if you're not lonely and you like to smoke, go 15 and it's the same. Or just don't smoke and have a community and you'll be sweet.
We are not endorsing smoking.
Just for the record.
Just for the record. But yeah, I mean, how do you feel about that? Why do you think that friendship and community plays such a big role in aging?
So I think they're just only uncovering the science in the last sort of few decades where, emotions have a massive physical impact. And if you've got a sense of community and belonging, the hormones you produce, the emotions that you produce and feel can help heal the body. And so if you've got a purpose as well, with a community, you've also got a reason to stick around.
Yeah.
So all these things, I think, add up together to help allow for the Blue Zone to be in Loma Linda. And you said it's in the USA.
Yeah, in California.
California, I didn't even know that. California has a Blue Zone.
Yep.
USA has a Blue Zone.
Yeah, they're 7-day Adventists.
I see.
This one.
Okay. So really strong community.
Yeah, very strong community. And I think, like you said, it helps to, when you have good friends around you, I think the science says that, you've got less cortisol, less stress hormone, and whether that's just because they help you to regulate those tough experiences or regulate those tough emotions. But yeah, I think it just goes to show it's so important to reach out and have regular routines when it comes to friendship and community as you get older.
Unreal. That is awesome to know that it's now scientifically measurable and visible.
Yeah, measurable in cigarettes.
Don't smoke anywhere.
Oh, God.
So if you've listened to our podcast before, you know we like to keep our eye on the longevity kings. So Fiona, what is Dr. David Sinclair up to at the moment?
Yeah, so I was looking into this prior to the podcast, and he's actually facing a bit of backlash recently.
Wow. I haven't heard of this.
Yeah.
This is news to me.
He has a company or a business called Animal Biosciences, and they made a longevity product for dogs, which, I mean...
So far, this sounds great.
Sounds amazing, right? Like, imagine a puppy could live forever. So nice.
Sounds like a cartoon.
And he came out and he basically said that, his product called Leap Years was able to reverse the aging process. And the scientific community just came out and tore shreds off him for saying that. And so he's had to step down from one of his positions, I think, outside of not in relation to this company, but one of his kind of board positions in terms of being one of the scientific leaders.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
And so do we know why they didn't like it? Did they say, look, this isn't backed up by science, you can't say this? Did he say and promise more? I've got questions.
I think that the scientific community is obviously, relatively conservative when it comes to age reversal. We know this. But I did a bit more research into the product, into Leap Years.
That was my next question.
Yeah, what's in it, right? So from what I can see, it's actually quite unclear. They haven't got the nutritional panel, maybe because it's something for animals, not for humans. The nutritional panel isn't really listed online anywhere that I could see.
Okay.
But it did say that it contained a NAD precursor.
Okay.
So I'm thinking...
It's NMN.
You think NMN?
I believe it would be NMN.
Yeah, knowing Dr. David Sinclair and his work and research around it.
Mm-hmm.
So a NAD precursor and an antioxidant.
Right. So he also discovered resveratrol. So it's probably resveratrol.
That was my thought too. So I have a sneaking suspicion it's probably NMN, resveratrol, and maybe some other bits and pieces in there. But I thought it was really interesting. It kind of sounds like Live for Dogs.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So for those that are listening, Live is a product from the HAC, thank you to our sponsors, the HAC, that has everything you need to help reverse the aging process. And so that's what Fiona's referring to when she says Live for Dogs.
Yeah, maybe we should get them to make Live for Dogs.
That's a good idea. We probably wouldn't be allowed to say anything though, right?
Maybe not.
Maybe we wouldn't even be able to list the nutritional panel like Dr. David Sinclair can't on his product, Leap Years.
Well, if we're talking about Leap Years, what else would you put in there? If you were making Live or Leap Years for dogs, you've got NMN, you've got resveratrol. What else do you think that they need?
We need to be careful, because pets metabolize ingredients differently to humans. So you'd need to do testing to make sure, this is tolerated by a cat or a dog or whatever your pet is.
Just like a bit of fish oil or something.
I mean, fish oil is great for everyone,
Good for them.
anti-inflammatory. Yeah. I mean, a perfect example that everyone knows is chocolate. Humans are fine with chocolate. We can metabolize it no problem, but your dog eats it, you got to take it to the vet and get its tummy pumped. So we would need to make sure that the ingredients were safe for animals. But I mean, we could talk about what you'd put in a human safe product.
Yeah, I was going to say you're more of an expert on human supplements, not puppy supplements.
That's true, and I wouldn't hate to say the wrong thing, like apparently Dr. David Sinclair just did.
Well, are you going to divulge more information on what you would put in an age reversal supplement for humans? Or
So definitely the NMN, and we know that would have been in the puppy product because they do make NMN products for dogs. Resveratrol too. I mean, that's the original longevity compound they found protected DNA from degradation. However, the process of putting those two together burns through what's called our methyl groups, which are vitally important for many other reactions in the body, but they're very important for DNA restoration. And so we should add methyl donors in with NMN and resveratrol to make sure that we've got the raw ingredients to repair DNA and the process doesn't deplete our methyl groups, which can make us then feel tired, irritable, we don't sleep well, we can't concentrate, etc. So long story short, you'd put a special trans resveratrol in so you don't need to take it with fats, which will activate a sirtuin enzyme. The NMN would kick in precursor NAD, which would then fuel that enzyme, that sirtuin enzyme. You'd repair DNA, and it would use the methyl groups as the building blocks for that. And then you've got a complete DNA restoration product that you can take indefinitely, not just stopping aging, but reversing aging.
You'll end up in the slammer with Dr. David Sinclair.
Yeah, I mean, this is in theory, right?
And I think a lot of what you just said, though, is actually based on his research as well. And that's sort of along the lines of his book Lifespan, right? The products and the ingredients that he talks about.
Largely is, yeah. And so there's other people that study it that, they've really delved into the methylation side and the need for methyl groups, etc. But, yeah, Dr. David Sinclair uncovered the longevity components of resveratrol as a raw ingredient, as well as NMN.
Amazing.
So that is a Dr. David Sinclair special 1-2 ingredient combination.
So that brings us to your hot minute on supplements.
My favourite section.
And I normally would let you freewheel and just pick anything that you liked, but you just briefly scraped the surface of talking about resveratrol, an antioxidant ingredient that was discovered by Dr. David Sinclair. And personally, I find the whole uncovering of this and how it works just so interesting. So I was sort of hoping that you could go into that a little bit.
Sure. Well, resveratrol was originally found in the skin of red grapes. And so that's where red wine got its good rap, because of this antioxidant ingredient that was so healthy for the body. And about 30 years ago, Dr. David Sinclair at Harvard University uncovered the effect of resveratrol on DNA. And what he found is when in the presence of a special nuclear dye, the body or a cell from the human body was administered resveratrol, it actually protected the telomeres from degradation. And so the DNA retained its data and it effectively stopped aging. However, a subsequent study showed that without the presence of that special nuclear dye, it didn't occur. And so it was discredited for a long time. And then Dr. David Sinclair was able to reproduce the results without that nuclear dye. And now we're back. We know resveratrol works. There was nothing else that could interact with it. It does protect DNA. How does it work? Well, the human body is quite intelligent and it recognises that its food supply is stressed. And so resveratrol occurs in the skin of red grapes when they're grown in really arid conditions. So, dry clay, soil, etc. And the resveratrol is a sign that, hey, look, we're in a scary condition for growth. We might not survive this. The human body picks up on that antioxidant and ignites its own version of its sort of resveratrol, which is a sirtuin enzyme to protect DNA because it fears that its food supply is going to die. It's this knock-on effect. It's really, really cool.
Incredible.
And so resveratrol protects the telomeres from degradation through acting like a key turning on a car that is a sirtuin enzyme in the body, which is activated in times of stress and autophagy, which is, when the body is stressed. So that can also occur in starvation, in cold therapy, but resveratrol can also turn it on as well.
So when you say that can also occur, you're referring specifically to the stimulation of autophagy, which is the process whereby the body starts to get rid of unhealthy and dormant cells to strengthen itself in times of stress or where your food supply is threatened or et cetera, et cetera.
And then while that's occurring, the sirtuin enzymes are switched on as well. Yeah, and they protect DNA from degradation. They go, oh, look, we might die here. Let's stop DNA damage because it could happen very quickly, and it actually stops it. So that's why, cold therapy is getting a good rap. Fasting gets a good rap as well. Technically, at this point in time, the only clinical way to prolong life by almost 30% is through fasting. They've proven that.
Yeah.
And that is because it actually switches on this sirtuin enzyme, and resveratrol has been shown to do the same thing.
Right. So you mentioned that it's found in red wine. Now, we discussed previously, alcohol's not great for, it can be damaging to cells. Does having a glass of red wine, is it actually beneficial, or are you kind of undoing all that goodness with the alcohol component?
It's hard to know exactly. If we refer to another biohacker, Ben Greenfield, he likes to have a glass of alcohol every night. He thinks the alcohol, being a stressor to the body, not taken in excess, so just one glass, will actually help the body fortify itself. I'm not saying, all right, so everyone should drink one standard drink per day. That's just Ben Greenfield's move. But having one or two glasses every now and then would be quite beneficial. However, it'd be a lot more beneficial if someone was to simply buy the extract as a supplement and take it about half an hour before their first meal while starvation is sort of kicking in. And then they can really ignite that sirtuin to turn on and protect DNA from the starvation point of view, and doubling it up with resveratrol intake.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I think you're right in terms of taking it as a supplement, because then you're getting this particular amount, it's standardized, a glass of wine, you don't know what condition the grapes were grown in and if it was high in resveratrol at that time. It's hard to quantify and yeah.
Well, yeah, unless you're testing, it's impossible to quantify, and you're exactly right, you just don't know.
But I suppose if you were to indulge in a alcoholic beverage, maybe red wine's an okay choice.
It's an okay choice. Try and, if you can, avoid preservative.
Organic, preservative-free.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's a whole nother thing.
It's a whole nother thing, and it's hard to do, and you need to probably, that's under a curtain for another day. Yeah.
Smart move.
Yeah, but resveratrol, brilliant ingredient. Take with NMN, but we're not going to talk about NMN. Otherwise, we'll be here for another minute.
So, coming to the end of the podcast, my favourite section where we get to talk about people that have achieved amazing feats later in life. And this week talking about Yuichiro Miura, who was the oldest man to summit Mount Everest in 2013 at the ripe young age of 80 years old.
To climb all the way to Mount Everest. Young people can't do that. Well, a lot of them can't. What was his background?
So his father was also a mountain climber, and he set the record for the oldest person to climb Mount Kilimanjaro at the age of 77.
Right.
Yeah.
So his dad climbed Kilimanjaro at 77.
Mm-hmm. And so he became an avid mountain climber, skier as well. So Yuichiro, the son, actually had a movie made about him as the man who skied down Everest, which he was actually the first person to ever ski down Everest as well.
Not his dad.
Yuichiro himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
What nationality are these guys?
Japanese.
They're Japanese, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And he actually originally set the record at the age of 70 in 2003.
So in 2003, 70 was the oldest.
Yep.
And then he did it again in 2013 at 80.
Mm-hmm.
If he did it now, 2024, he could break the record again at 91.
He definitely could. But he...
Is he still alive?
I think so, yeah. He actually... He came back at the age of 80 to reclaim his throne.
Someone went older than 70 and climbed.
Yes. So the record holder in 2008 was a Nepalese man, Min Bahadur, who accomplished it at 76.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So it went 70, 76, and then he came back and got it.
And he smashed it
at the age of 80.
Unreal.
Yeah.
I think he should come back.
So do I.
How do you say his name again?
Yuichiro Miura.
Come back, Yuichiro. Let's break the record at 91.
Yeah. He was quoted as saying when he got to the top, he said, "It's the world's best feeling and I am totally exhausted."
Yeah, that's a humble thing to say and probably not as aggressive as he was feeling. But yeah, that would make sense with someone who was 80 and could climb a mountain like that.
Yeah, I know. Just incredible. And then I've just got one final quote, which I like to share to sort of end the podcast on a really nice note. So when he was asked why he wanted to summit Everest at the age of 80, he said, "It is to challenge my own ultimate limit. It is to honour the great Mother Nature."
Beautiful.
Beautiful, right?
Yeah, I think you need to be a special type of person to be able to do something like that.
I don't know. I think that if you set your mind to it and if you have a purpose and, you know, you just train one foot in front of the other and persevere, I think you can achieve a lot.
Clearly. But, you know...
And age is no barrier.
But climbing Mount Everest can be quite dangerous too, you know.
Well,
so
that
you need
is
to have your wits
extreme.
about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, climbing crevasses and all that. I'm just trying to picture him at 80 crossing in one of those sort of makeshift ladders, and it just sounds unreal.
I think the really admirable thing about the Japanese culture and the Japanese way is that they're so precise, you know. So I'm not that surprised. I think that they've got the intentionality and the perfection and the precision to do it.
Well, he certainly did at 80 years of age.
And there's a movie about him as well. So
We've got to watch that. I'm motivated now. Let's do it.
And his son is also a Olympic skier and mountain climber, and so it's kind of continuing the family legacy.
Unreal. Maybe his son will do it at 90 and break the record.
Wouldn't that be incredible?
Yeah. And maybe his dad will still be alive.
They've just got this funny, like, one-upping each other.
Yeah. Got to beat my dad. Yeah. Right, just before we wrap up, Fiona, any thoughts about today's episode?
I think that it's really motivated me to revisit my sort of sleep hygiene, sleep routine, you know, get those high sleep quality scores, and definitely look a little bit into fasting as well. So maybe in the next few weeks, exploring that a little bit more. How about you?
Probably a bit more motivated to know that if an 80-year-old can climb Mount Everest, maybe I can get to bed earlier and maybe cycle for 10 minutes before I go to work.
Just 10 minutes.
Got to start somewhere. Amazing.
Big goals.
Big goals.
You can do anything. We can do anything.
Well, if he can, I suppose we all can.
Just incredible. Incredible. I think that's it for today then. Thank you so much for tuning into the Age Hack podcast. Thank you to our sponsors, the Age Hack. If you haven't already, check them out on their Instagram, their website. There's some amazing blogs there. Lots of secrets from the various blue zones and longevity lifestyle tips. That's all from us. Paul and Fee signing out.
See you next week.